Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, the Yankees have gone to a historically bad drop under 500 for the first time since September of 1995, being 120 games in, at a lovely 60-61, getting swept and embarrassed by the Atlanta Braves. Didn't even look close. Obviously we have one team, the Braves, best in baseball, and the Yankees just really at the bottom of the pit there, but really came out during the series for the Yankees with the last two games. They just got completely blanked and shut down. So nothing really good to take away from here. So I'm going to jump into all of it. I know it seemed bleak, it seemed negative. It's probably going to be a lot of Yankee bashing and front office bashing and complaining about players. But, make sure you follow and subscribe to the podcast, get other cool stuff, and also check the recent interview I had with Uncle Tat and Kritz from the Upper Deck podcast. There's also an audio version of that cut also if you want to go up and down the list there. So a lot of cool stuff like that. And, of course, I'll get a little future about all the stuff going on with Derek Jeter and playing the old-timers game, which, I don't think anyone's going to want to show up to because the team's so miserable right now. But that'll be a whole separate episode coming up soon. So I want to get my thoughts on that, as well as the comments from the former Marlins owner on Jeter as well, kind of bash Jeter a little bit in a recent book. So again, I'm going to have a little Derek Jeter episode coming up soon. So make sure you want to catch that. Be a podcast subscriber. So the Yankees, limped into Atlanta, and we knew what the situation was going to be. That's one we just hope you could get away with one there. But again, the Yankees after that disastrous loss Sunday evening against the Marlins there. I would almost traded that if the Yankees could have taken 2 out of 3 against Atlanta and stolen the series. Maybe then I could live better, but they didn't even do that and didn't even win one of the games. This got absolutely lambasted. Really nothing. I can't see much you could take away from it. I mean, they gave Severino another start in there, and he just absolutely got trashed again, giving up 3 runs in the first inning. So nothing really good to take away from any of this. It's just bad. And just the Yankee offense getting 1 hit in the second game there, and then a 4 hit in the final game there. So you're talking about 5 hits total in 18 innings of baseball, and that's just not a professional baseball team. And that's just what this Yankee team looks like right now. Not a professional baseball team, not even a single A team. Single A team could have gone to Atlanta and at least done a better job than that. And the Yankees' only gasp they had early on in this entire series was the first game of the first inning there. Had bases loaded with Bader up there. Now, maybe if you put a big crooked number on the board, maybe things could have been differently, but I don't think so, because Clark Schmidt, it was a rare night where he was off. It was actually his first start in the last 14 starts where he gave up more than 3 runs there. So he hasn't been the problem there. He just had a bit of a clunker. Again, he's up against a first-place lineup. I just think he just got worn out a little bit. So I really didn't put the L on him. But the Yankees could have made some big noise there, but unfortunately just get a RBI ground out. And the Yankees would just end up there with a measly 1-0 lead there. Now, Atlanta would tie it up. The Yankees would come right back and take the lead again 2-1. But then from there, Atlanta just blew the Yankees' door off with a 4-run 4th inning and just kept tacking on. Later, we get a 2-run home run from Eddie Rosario, who'd burn the Yankees in the final game there. And Atlanta built themselves up to an 11-3 lead. And again, this game was pretty much done by the 4th inning. Again, it's not a good outing from Clark Schmidt. He was due for a bad one. He's been relatively good for the Yankees, so it's not something you really point the finger at him. It's just more that this Yankee offense, in the first inning there, bases loaded, maybe you could do something there, 1 out, but have to settle this for 1 run, and that's kind of tells you the story of this Yankee offense. And the rest of the way, it was just a complete wipeout. I mean, they put Severino in to start the second game, gives up a 3-run home run in the first inning to Ozuna. The game's already over at that point. Now, later on, he would give up another 2-run home run to Acuna. Now, not totally his fault. Now, IKF bobbled the play before that, so put a runner on. So it should have only been a 1-run home run instead of a 2-run home. But nevertheless, Yankees at that point down 5-0. And this was the most pitiful game. They just managed to scratch across 1 hit the entire game. They had 1 hit the entire game. So this is absolutely embarrassing. And again, not a baseball team, which then brings you to the finale. Not that much better. 2-0. So at least you give the pitching some credit there. A combination of Randy Vasquez and Michael King, who were stretched out. Obviously, they stretched King out a little bit now to 3 innings, and you've been hearing talks that probably to experiment in September or at least to start next season, they may want to stretch King out to be a starter, which technically originally was when he first came up with the Yankees. Didn't really do great there, but then they found a little gem in him as a reliever, which I think he's more suitable for. I just don't like the idea of stretching. I mean, he has the ability to go 6-7 innings, even if you stretch him out for next season. So I think he's good in his role of just being a 7th to 8th inning guy, someone who comes in for multiple innings and, throws max effort and that stuff versus going 5-6 innings and you kind of, you can't really go 100% max effort because you got to stretch yourself out. So nevertheless, that's my opinion on that. But here's this a little stretch down in. But unfortunately, on the other side, for Atlanta was Charlie Morton, who you may remember days with the Astros of just shutting the Yankees down there. The Yankees could never touch him, and the Yankees weren't able to touch him in the final game. The Yankees measly full 2-0. So maybe it's not as embarrassing, but 2-0. And the only offense from Atlanta was a 2-run home run by that same Eddie Rosario. And that was all Atlanta needed because the Yankees can't score more than 2 runs. So that's in the bag there. So just not a good look for the Yankees. And even Boone's pretty much, Mr. Positive, we've got to get the bats going. We got to do this. I see some good things. Well, now even he's admitting that this team's probably not going to be able to be capable of putting some runs together to inch back into this thing now. They've fallen out 6.5 of their final spot in the wild card there. And it's just, do you see anything from this team that shows any sort of fight that they could go on any run? Or is there anyone hot that could, maybe the Yankees get on their back or anything like that? No, I mean, and not even Judge, and I'm not really blaming Judge. Who knows? He's probably playing on one leg more or less, so there's only really so much you expect from him. But you need a supporting cast. You need the people around him. I know Torres is doing good. He's putting up some stats, and even the batting average is getting up there. But collectively, up and down that lineup, you're just getting nothing from anybody, and it's just, same old story. It's just 9 of the same type of players that go station to station, and maybe if you need 2 or 3 guys that hit a home run, and one of those home runs to beat a 2 or 3 run home run, and if the Yankees could put up 7 or 8 runs that way, that's probably the only way they have a chance. They're not winning games 3-1. They're not winning 5-1. They're not winning 5-2. It's just either they hit some home runs and do great, or nothing. And in this Atlanta series, they had nothing. So that's where we stand at with the Yankees there. So not much good to take away from this. So they'll come home. I don't know who's going to want to, look at this team. You got the day off Thursday, and then they host the Boston Red Sox, which, many eons ago, this would have been a great series in mid-August as we approach September. Figure them both duking it out for the top of the AL East, but those days are long over now. It's a battle of, basically these two teams are battling for 4th place right now. So that's where we're at with the Yankees. I'm sure there'll be, I guess, some Red Sox fans. I mean, this season, they pretty much out of it as well. So I'm sure some Red Sox fans will just at least be in the crowd just for kicks and giggles, as they say. And, but I can't see any meaningful baseball being played from either of these clubs going back. And even look at the Mets. I mean, if you could maybe taken a bet to start the year that both the Yankees and Mets, with all the expectations and the payroll and the money and everything going into it, that both teams would pretty much be last place teams for this season, that would have been like a 2,000 to 1 bet that you could have raked up on there. So no one could have seen this coming. So not much good to report. But make sure if you haven't done it already, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Got my little Derek Jeter special episode coming up soon. And again, moving forward, this looks like this is going to be group therapy sessions to try to get over this misery that's this Yankee team. Catch you next time.